The boundary between our world and what lies beyond is thinner than most people realize. When someone crosses over, their energy doesn't simply vanish, it transforms. The dead often try to reach out to us, sending messages through subtle channels that we frequently miss or dismiss as coincidence. These aren't frightening intrusions, but gentle reminders that love transcends physical existence. Dreams serve as one of the most common pathways for contact. During sleep, our conscious mind relaxes its rigid boundaries, creating an ideal environment for those who have passed to visit. These aren't ordinary dreams. They carry a distinctive quality of vividness and emotional resonance that sets them apart. Many people report encountering deceased loved ones in dreams that feel extraordinarily real. The interactions often involve clear conversations, emotional reconciliations, or messages of reassurance. A client once shared with me how her father, who had passed suddenly without a chance to say goodbye, appeared in her dream looking healthy and peaceful. He told her specific details about family matters he couldn't possibly have known before his passing. When she woke, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace that stayed with her for weeks. Another powerful sign comes through unexplained sense. Our olfactory sense has profound connections to memory and emotion. Many report suddenly catching the distinctive perfume or cologne of a departed loved one, a grandmother's rosewater, a father's pipe tobacco, or a spouse's signature fragrance, in settings where no physical explanation exists. A grieving husband described walking into his empty home and being enveloped by his wife's distinctive lavender perfume, though her bottles had been stored away months earlier. The scent appeared at pivotal moments when he needed guidance or reassurance, gradually helping him understand she remained present in a different form. Electrical disturbances offer another channel for communication. Those who have crossed over seem capable of manipulating energy fields to affect lights, radios, televisions, or other electronic devices. Lamps may flicker when you speak about your loved one, or a meaningful song might suddenly play on the radio at a significant moment. Edgar, the renowned psychic and spiritual teacher, documented numerous cases where electrical disruptions served as communication methods from the other side. He explained that consciousness, being essentially energy, can influence our physical world's electrical systems as a means of demonstrating continued existence. Physical sensations provide perhaps the most intimate form of contact. Many report feeling a gentle touch on their shoulder or hand, a cool breeze across their face, or the unmistakable feeling of someone sitting beside them on an empty bed. These aren't hallucinations, but genuine interactions across dimensional boundaries. A young woman who lost her mother described feeling someone gently stroking her hair as she wept alone in her room, the exact way her mother had comforted her throughout childhood. Rather than finding this frightening, she experienced profound solace in recognizing her mother's continuing presence and love. Animals possess a heightened sensitivity to energies beyond our normal perception. They lack the filters of disbelief that humans develop, allowing them to perceive spiritual presences more readily. Watch closely when your dog or cat suddenly stares intently at an empty corner, follows an invisible movement across the room, or behaves in an unusually protective manner. These aren't random behaviors. They're acknowledgements of visitors from beyond the physical realm. A particularly moving account came from a widow who noticed her husband's loyal retriever would sit beside his empty armchair every evening at precisely 7 p.m., the exact time he used to return from work. The dog would wag its tail, appear to receive invisible affection, and then settle contentedly at the foot of the chair. This continued for months after his passing, suggesting the man's routine visits to check on his family. Objects moving without explanation represent another powerful form of communication. These occurrences typically involve items of emotional significance. A photograph might repeatedly fall from a shelf, a cherished gift might appear in unexpected places, or jewelry with sentimental value might become mysteriously relocated. The physical displacement of objects requires considerable energy from those who have crossed over, which explains why such movements often involve lightweight items or objects with deep emotional connections that help strengthen the energetic link. One family reported finding their deceased grandfather's pocket watch, previously stored in an attic box, sitting prominently on the kitchen table the morning of a major family decision, exactly when his guidance would have been sought. Numbers and repetitive patterns offer a more subtle, yet equally meaningful form of contact. Many report seeing specific number sequences associated with their loved ones, perhaps a birthday, anniversary, or simply numbers that held significance in their relationship. The appearance of 1111, 333, or similar patterns on clocks, license plates, receipts, and other unexpected places often indicates attempted communication. A mother who lost her daughter began noticing the numbers 9116, her daughter's September 16th birthday, appearing everywhere: grocery receipts, random page numbers, house addresses during her travels. These numerical synchronicities provided comfort, suggesting her daughter's continued presence and awareness of her grief journey. Auditory messages present yet another channel. While rare, some report hearing faint voices, whispers, or even music associated with their departed loved ones. These sounds typically occur in quiet moments or transitional states between wakefulness and sleep, when our conscious filters are less rigid. A hospice nurse shared how families frequently report hearing the gentle humming of favorite songs or barely perceptible whispers of comfort in rooms where loved ones recently passed. Rather than being unsettling, these experiences typically bring profound peace to grieving families. Extreme coincidences, or synchronicities, serve as powerful indicators of spiritual presence. These aren't random events, but carefully orchestrated moments designed to communicate across dimensional boundaries. Perhaps you're thinking intensely about your departed sister when her favorite butterfly species lands nearby, or you open a book to find a passage that perfectly addresses your current dilemma, exactly the advice she would have given. A college student described how, while struggling with a major life decision, she randomly encountered 3 strangers in one day who shared the same unusual name as her deceased mentor. Each interaction somehow touched on aspects of her decision, providing guidance that perfectly aligned with her mentor's wisdom and perspective. Music and media often serve as vehicles for communication. A song that was meaningful to your relationship might play at pivotal moments, or you might encounter specific words or phrases through books, television, or even billboards that feel personally directed at you. The key to recognizing these communications lies in developing awareness. The messages have likely always been there, but our skeptical minds tend to dismiss them as coincidence. By opening ourselves to the possibility of continued connection, we create receptivity to the subtle language of spirit. Acknowledging these signs is merely the beginning of a deeper spiritual dialogue. To truly receive messages from beyond, we must cultivate a state of mindful receptivity, a delicate balance between focused awareness and relaxed openness. This isn't about becoming credulous or abandoning critical thinking, but rather expanding our perception beyond materialistic limitations. Meditation serves as the foundation for enhanced spiritual sensitivity. Even 5 minutes daily of quieting the analytical mind creates space for subtle energies to be perceived. Begin by sitting comfortably with eyes closed, focusing on your breath while releasing expectations and judgments. Gradually extend these sessions, noting any impressions, feelings, or thoughts that arise seemingly from outside yourself. A grief counselor I work with encourages clients to establish a spirit chair, a designated empty seat where they imagine their departed loved one sitting during conversations. This simple practice creates a focal point for communication, while acknowledging the continuing bond. Many report that after weeks of this practice, they begin receiving authentic responses through intuitive impressions, dreams, or synchronistic events in their daily lives. Journaling amplifies your ability to recognize patterns of communication, record every potential sign or meaningful coincidence, no matter how small it might seem. Over time, you'll discern clear patterns and messages that might otherwise be dismissed as random events. One woman documented finding feathers in unusual places after her mother's passing. After months of journaling, she realized these feathers appeared primarily before important life decisions, precisely when she most needed her mother's guidance. Creating small rituals can strengthen your connection with those who have crossed over. Light a candle on special anniversaries, play their favorite music, prepare their cherished recipes, or simply speak aloud to them during quiet moments. These actions demonstrate your openness to continued relationship across dimensional boundaries. Many find that following such rituals, signs and messages increase dramatically in frequency and clarity. Dreams offer particularly fertile ground for communication. Before sleeping, consciously invite peaceful visitation from your loved ones. Keep a notebook beside your bed to record impressions immediately upon waking, as these ethereal communications often fade quickly into forgetfulness. Pay special attention to dreams that carry emotional resonance beyond ordinary dreaming. These frequently contain genuine messages. A hospice chaplain shared the experience of a patient who had lost his wife to cancer years earlier. The man reported that his grief had prevented any sense of connection until he began inviting dreams of her before sleep. Within weeks, she appeared in a dream so vivid he could smell her perfume. She showed him a hidden box containing letters she'd written for their children, something he knew nothing about. Upon waking, he searched their attic and discovered exactly what she had shown him. Developing trust in your intuitive impressions represents perhaps the greatest challenge for most seekers. Our society privileges rational, empirical evidence while dismissing subjective experience. Yet authentic spiritual communication requires honoring those subtle inner knowings that arise without logical explanation. Start by acting on small intuitive promptings and noting the results. This gradually builds confidence in your natural psychic sensitivity. Resistance often manifests as fear, concern that opening to spiritual communication might invite negative entities or experiences. This fear largely stems from sensationalized media portrayals rather than reality. Those who have crossed over and seek communication are motivated by love and concern for those they've left behind. Approach this process with respect and positive intention, and your experiences will reflect those qualities. Another common barrier involves grief itself. Intense emotional pain can create energy blocks that interfere with clear reception. Regular grief work, whether through counseling, support groups, or personal practices, gradually transforms raw suffering into a more peaceful acceptance that actually facilitates clearer communication. Some practitioners find that working with physical focal points enhances their receptivity. Photographs, inherited jewelry, or cherished possessions can serve as energetic links, strengthening the connection. Hold these items during meditation, sleep with them nearby, or simply keep them visible in your living space as invitations for contact. Patience remains essential throughout this process. Some will experience dramatic signs immediately following a loved one's transition, while others may wait months or years before recognizing the subtle language of spirit. The timing depends on numerous factors, including the departed's own adjustment process, your emotional readiness, and the specific lessons both souls are working through in this separation. As with any meaningful skill, developing spiritual receptivity requires practice, patience, and perseverance, and the rewards, however, are immeasurable. The profound comfort of knowing that death represents not an ending, but a transition, and that love continues to flow between souls regardless of dimensional differences. As your awareness expands and communication with those beyond the veil becomes more consistent, you'll find yourself inhabiting a unique spiritual position, living simultaneously in two worlds. This isn't a burden, but a profound gift that transforms your understanding of existence itself. Those who develop this awareness often report a fundamental shift in their relationship with mortality, both others and their own. Fear of death naturally diminishes when you recognize it as a transition rather than an ending. A hospice nurse with over 30 years of experience shared that patients who have established communication with departed loved ones approach their own transitions with remarkable peace. They've received confirmation of continued existence through direct experience rather than mere belief or hope. Your relationships with the living deepen as well. When you truly understand the eternal nature of consciousness, you approach current relationships with greater presence, patience, and appreciation. Petty conflicts lose their power when viewed against the backdrop of spiritual continuity. A woman who regularly communicates with her deceased husband noted how her relationships with her children transformed. She became more attentive to creating meaningful memories rather than focusing on minor frustrations. Many who develop this awareness find themselves serving as informal bridges for others experiencing loss. Your calm certainty about continued existence provides powerful comfort to those in fresh grief. A grief counselor observed that clients who establish their own communication with departed loved ones not only heal faster, but often become sources of healing for others in their communities. Synchronicities tend to increase dramatically in frequency and significance as your receptivity develops. Life takes on an almost orchestrated quality, with meaningful coincidences guiding decisions and providing confirmation of your path. A business executive who began communicating with his departed mentor through dreams described how his professional life became filled with impossible coincidences that repeatedly opened doors precisely when needed. Your intuitive abilities will likely expand beyond communication with specific individuals to include broader spiritual guidance. Many report developing enhanced empathic sensitivity, precognitive dreams, or healing abilities following their initial experiences of after-death communication. These expanded capacities aren't supernatural, but natural extensions of your developing spiritual awareness. This journey requires ongoing discernment. Not every thought, feeling, or coincidence represents communication from beyond. Developing a balanced approach means neither dismissing genuine contact nor attributing every random event to spiritual significance. Regular meditation, journaling, and consultation with experienced practitioners can help refine your discernment skills. Maintaining healthy boundaries becomes essential as your sensitivity increases. Set clear intentions about when and how you're available for communication. Many find it helpful to designate specific times for connection while maintaining focus on physical life responsibilities during other periods. This balanced approach honors both worlds you now inhabit. Cultural attitudes toward after-death communication vary dramatically across societies. Some cultures have maintained sophisticated practices for facilitating this connection throughout their history, while others discourage or pathologize such experiences. Recognize that your expanding awareness places you somewhat outside conventional understanding in materialistic societies, and find supportive community with others on similar paths. The ethical dimensions of this communication deserve careful consideration. Information received from those who have crossed over should be used with discretion and respect. A spiritual counselor described a client who received specific financial advice through dream communication with her deceased accountant husband. While the information proved accurate and valuable, she wisely sought professional confirmation before acting on major decisions. Your responsibility includes honoring the natural grieving process, both your own and others. After-death communication doesn't eliminate the necessary emotional work of grief, but rather transforms it into a different kind of relationship building. A grief therapist observed that healthy spiritual connection acknowledges the profound change that death brings while exploring the new forms relationship can take. As your experience deepens, you may encounter individuals who have never established communication with their departed loved ones, despite desperate desire for such connection. Approach these situations with compassion rather than judgment. Each soul journey follows its own timing and purpose. Sometimes periods of apparent separation serve important developmental functions for both the living and those who have crossed over. The most profound outcome of this expanded awareness is the dissolution of artificial boundaries between life and death, physical and spiritual, seen and unseen. You begin experiencing existence as a continuous spectrum rather than a series of binary divisions. This integrated perspective, as Edgar noted in his extensive writings, represents humanity's natural spiritual inheritance rather than an exceptional ability. The quiet certainty that grows from direct experience transcends mere belief. You no longer need external confirmation or approval, because your own experiences have demonstrated the continuity of consciousness beyond physical transition. This knowing brings extraordinary peace that sustains through life's most difficult challenges. Through developing this awareness, you participate in humanity's gradual spiritual awakening. Each person who bridges these worlds helps expand collective consciousness beyond materialistic limitations. Your journey of communication with those beyond the veil ultimately serves not just your personal healing, but our shared evolution toward greater spiritual understanding. If these signs resonated with you, there's more spiritual wisdom waiting. Hit subscribe now to join our community of seekers. Have you experienced any of these signs from loved ones? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Turn on notifications so you never miss our spiritual insights. Remember, the messages are always there. You just need to learn how to listen.